Hello everybody, it's me again. Pretty much, I'm here riding my bike. I'm here by the the ice rink, the World Ice Rink Arena. It's the WIA. And as I'm riding, so I'm going to tell you my little story. This is called The Call of the Elite, and we saw the movie, the Elite of Battle Angel, and that movie was really good, you know. And then there was an aspect of like Zealot. Some people were like in there, and they were like part of it, part of the city, and then and they were sent down for some reasons. Others were on the ground wanting to go up to it, and so it's kind of like you have a situation of like the fallen angels wanting to go back to heaven, and those on the earth want to go up to heaven. There's the call of the elite, There's the aspect where a person wants to go someplace where they're not. But what I want to say is that you have a scenario where, like, I keep saying the word scenario. It's like one of my favorite words, I guess. That's the scenario song. Anyway, so one of the things about the way that the elite. I see the moon right there. The elite constantly are in a position to try and make phone calls to the people is because they want to recruit more elite. Now, I haven't answered a candid story, and I've been writing that story for about 4 years. Let me not die here as I go down this hill. Okay, stuck. Lucas is my son Lucas is spokes, and that was a bad day. But anyway, let me see if I can just explain to you what I'm trying to say. There's like a call for the elite. There are people who are constantly out there trying to recruit more for the agenda. And there are people who are born into it, And then there are people who, I believe, what happens is that they're searching for more people to join it. So, for example, you have a scenario where it's like, you have certain skills to be used, certain talents, in the elite camp. Like in my story, the story, what I was leading to, there was Karl Moderator, right? He was one of the newscasters, and this thing was always a search for the truth. He was always searching for truth, always trying to find, what's true and what's realistic and everything like that. And so he would constantly search, constantly do what was right. Not so much right, but trying to find the scoop and the source and all that. So finally, when he got to the part that had certain kind of scenarios and situations where they're not able to find, the right one. So he started blaming different people. He started blaming different people for stuff because what happened was I just got off my bike and started walking. Was because when you find the truth of something, you try to find a source to that. But when you realize that one of the elites had to be stopped, and so he got himself in some bad people. Eventually, got himself put in prison, and then redeemed himself. But there's something said about when you find the truth. First, the whole thing, like the Matrix. First, you have you got the red pill and the blue pill. And when you take the red pill, you go down the rabbit hole, and then your eyes are open. But then it becomes the black pill, and you see how dark it is, and how bad it is, and how depraved. And then sometimes you see if you're opportunistic, you keep going and you don't give up, or you become all despaired and negative, you find the white pill, which is you find God, you meet the Most High, and it shows you how, purpose for this world, because it's like, it is a certain aspect of despair that when you come across, that despair was given to us to seek greater, seek better. What happens is that, there's a call, but there's also a call for the elite. And I believe that there are demonic forces at work in life of a lot of things, and what it means is that there are demons and there are evil spirits, and that the head of the demons is Satan, and his whole overall take on things was that he wanted to take over the world. He wanted to be higher than God, which is most people, they kind of want to be higher than God, be the masters of their own fate, And what ended up happening is that everybody has a scenario where you come to grips with your own mortality. You come to the point that you're going to die. And it's like, no matter how much in control you are of your life, you're never in control of your death. You're not in control of when you're born. You're not in control of when you get sick. You're not in control of when you die, And that could unnerve many people. But when a person, puts their faith in Jesus Christ, at least your eternal life is secured. You know that you have a purpose in this life, that you were made to glorify God, and that all the stuff that you're doing in your life is a manifestation of how great God is to give you an opportunity to do these things, you know. And so another thing too is like, you know, in like the many things, watching many movies, they always have the same kind of thing where they have an appeal. They appeal to how you should be your own person, and you should rise above your circumstance and doing great, wonderful things. Then you have the elite who actually do that, right? They actually go out there and they do great, wonderful things. You know, some of them great, wicked things. You know, you just talked about, you know, the whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein and how he died. I know I did a video yesterday and I was talking about like how, you know, he you know, I kept on saying Harvey Weinstein instead of Jeffrey Epstein, but pretty much the same kind of thing. These high-powered elite people. The Bible talks about there's powers and principalities of powers, and there's a whole host of wickedness in high places. And what they're trying to do is like their influence. It's like a certain kind of influence that when you become like a certain level of person, then you have a certain kind of level where, you know, people begin to like, you know, well, not so much people, but spirits begin to you get to influence people. People naturally look to you as a leader of sorts, you know. And they start paying attention to what you're saying and listening to you. And what ends up happening is that, here's the cool thing of the train, I see all the trains. What ends up happening is that you have a scenario, I keep saying scenario, where the demons are looking for you and willing to give you more power, as long as you're willing to give more influence and take away your glory from you know, focusing on God. So what ends up happening is that all your ability and all your strength goes to glorifying Satan or glorifying the demons or devils who gives you this temporary power. But the bottom line is that someday they're going to come and take it back, you know, and then what happens, they make you a prisoner for eternity. So you can have your freedom now and have your cake and eat it, but then you're becoming a prisoner for eternity. Whereas the more you know about God, the more freedom he gives you. It's like, you know, you talk about the abolition of slaves. The only reason why people abolished slaves was not because of the fact that, you know, it was economically, you know, a bad situation. It came a part where people could say, you know what, I can no longer enslave another human being, you know? And yeah, they made it an economic situation like they did in that movie, Amazing Grace. They kept on talking about the case of the slaves, and the people in Britain, like William Pitt and William Wilberforce, they were willing to fight and bring it before the parliament over and over again, and nobody wanted to hear them talk about that anymore until they made it a financial issue. But what I was trying to say is that the reason why they went so far lengths was because they valued the individuality of slaves. Now, I always wonder why the elites don't go after and redeem the slaves in other countries. Like, for example, you know, there's a lot of people who are enslaved today, in this world today, you know? And they can be freed. They should be freed. They should be given an opportunity to be free just like everybody else. And so why don't they go after them? Why do they go after the ones that are, you know, here in this country? It's like, as if here in America, you know, they want your mind. They want you to be a certain kind of way. You know, but it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like they want you to fall in line and perpetuate their system. It's almost like they're empowered. I said this before once upon a time, that there's a thing about, you know, there's a thing called the stock market. And the stock market, for me, it represents a kind of like a dollar value of sorts, where people are constantly watching for how much influence and how much energy is being like dished out and lauded out, you know? Like, for example, it's one of those things where you have when you focus on it, we give our energy to it, you know? I told my wife many times we're watching some things on TV or watching some things in the news, and it just kind of gets overwhelming for her, and you know, and I just say, you know, honey, you shouldn't really be paying attention to those kind of things, because your kind of energy you're giving an inanimate object or an idea life, you know? And it's like kind of, that's what the stock market does. It takes our energies in our lives and it begins, you know, turn it into like a business treat or some kind of business type thing where, oh, look how much energy is being focused in my product today. And because of that, yes, I'm giving people more money and work, but I'm also have more control. It's like the iPhones and the Androids, you know? It's like the way that these the things are designed is designed to like have people like in prison with their minds. You know, it's not one of those things where you have the freedom to like to break away from it. Here I am using my Android phone, and my phone, I don't like the whole Apple system. I had an Apple once, and it was when I was working with my insurance company. They gave me an iPad, and I hated the thing because I couldn't do all the things I like doing with it, like what I could do normally with the Android. But the bottom line was that what happened was there's an aspect and there's a ability of people to take control of another person's mind, you know? They make you focus, they make you really think about focus and think about what they want to buy. So they'll roll out like a new song, you know? And those poor actors and actresses, they're all broken down. Those people are just already broken down. They're not even humans anymore. I don't know what they are. They're just ready to be infiltrated by the will of another person. It's like they're like the epitome of demon possession, you know? I like watching movies and stuff, but when I start thinking about how they have to get into a role and how they have to become like totally, you know, absorbed in their character, that they've been, I've talked to people who are actors, and they said that, you know, that the scenes that they do over and over and over again become so monotonous for them that they just can't stand it. They kind of have to put themselves somewhere else, you know? They have to put themselves somewhere else because, I'm riding my bike again, because when they get into the whole thing of it, they have a thing where, you know, they have lost themselves. They have lost themselves in the game. And they have to sometimes do a therapy, and they have to do like some kind of like a detox to remember what they were like, you know, before, and find out who they were, because they're all intertwined. It's almost as if they have to find when they have to act bruised or wounded or really give a good scream, they have to find out within themselves, you know. And so because they have to do that, here goes the fuel again. When they have to do that, find that that bruise or those feelings, those real feelings, so they can pretend to be going through a situation, so they can convey that to us, so they can win an Oscar or an award. Those poor souls have to be like totally involved in it. So it's kind of like a good old mind control type thing, you know, a mind control situation where people are doing what they're being told to do. So then when you have the actors get up there and they protest something, I'm like, who are those people? Are these the real actors who played a role? Are they playing a role now? You know? I mean, they can't even dress themselves. They can't even go out in public. They have to be like under lock and key, live in gated communities. You know, these poor souls. Who wants to be like that, right? Who wants to be a person that has no freedom? Somebody says, you know, they should take the guns away. Take the guns away so people can actually, you know, be safe. But they can't take the guns away from the criminals. And the other thing too, there's a type of story I was listening to about where they have the elite making the trouble, and trying to be the solution to that trouble, so that they can be the saviors from that trouble. You know, and it's kind of one of those things where you're a superhero and you cause the bridge to fall. You're a superhero and you do these different things, and incidentally, when you do that, it causes the people to not have you come and save them. Like the thing that happens in Incredibles, where he had Syndrome, he made the robot, I forget the name of the robot now, the Omnidroid. He made the Omnidroid, and the Omnidroid, he used that to show how he's a superhero, thinking everybody's superpower, so no one could be super, because he was totally mad about what Captain America, Mr. Incredible did, and that he what do you call it? He just totally didn't appreciate him. So because he didn't appreciate him, he was just scorned forever. Big hill coming up, y'all. Hear me breathe. All right, here we go. So what happens is, like, you have the thing where people want to be great and powerful. The Bible calls it lust of the eyes. There's a lust of the flesh and the pride of life. You know, people make fun of the Bible and stuff. But in all honesty, the Bible has been true and right, 100%. You know, it has everything it talks about regarding human nature. When people and philosophers are trying to figure out what words to say, the Bible has already said it clearly, you know, that people have sinned, and sin will not inherit God's kingdom. God will not allow sin into his kingdom. So when we become born again, when we accept Christ as our Savior, what is happening is that we have a brand new life. Made brand to live life again, to really the way he wanted to. He took our sin, buried, and rose again. Oh my goodness. Talking, ride a bike at the same time. Okay, let me see if we get here and not get run over. Let's do this. Alright, highway. Can we do that? Hold on. Here we go. So here I am. Almost home. The bug's flying into my light, into my face. You know how that is. Alright, so hear me. here we go. So I'm riding through the dark spot. You see this? It's all like government stuff. I'm telling you, this thing about Jeffrey Epstein and him dying in prison is such a sham. How in the world did they let this guy die in prison? You know what I'm saying? They were not watching him, and hopefully they bring to justice all the people who are like all the cops and stuff, all the police who were involved, all the federal police that was involved, those people who were, you know, not paying attention to the fact that this guy was supposed to be on suicide watch, you know? So that's kind of a messed up thing, the fact that he went out like that, you know, before he got a chance to testify. But you know what? They call the elite, they gotta keep it quiet. They can't be like spreading this secret, the wickedness to everyone. I mean, they're telling us, they're trying to get us to buy their stuff, watch their movies, wear their clothes, right? And buy their stuff. And then what happens is that we become them, that we want to be like them. We want to go to Zalom like I did and lead a battle angel. We want to become like them. We want to get to their level. What ends up happening is that when we get there, we realize it was a bad move. Just like they realized it was a bad move. How much of a prison it really is. How you have to guard and hide your stuff. How you have to always be mindful of your car. Pay all the money out. And then how the other politicians want to tax you. They tax you so badly and make you into some kind of like, you know, some kind of a person pays for everybody's stuff because you're rich, you made it. So there's no desire, or maybe that's part of the plan to make it look so undesirable, but nobody wants to do that kind of thing, you know? I'm just like saying to myself, it's like, there's so much fight and so much to be fought over, but at the same time though, it's like they call it the elite. That's where people, the movies have a thing where it shows how people should be the elite. Every movie, rise above your situation. And when you do that, be like us. And every movie has a corporation to fight against too, you know? Some kind of thing they have to fight, some kind of battle they gotta fight against. Some kind of monster or corrupt government or something. Like they show you, okay? They show you. You gotta fight the corrupt government to control the system. And then what happens? Okay, alright, to make it. Okay, hold on a second. I'll talk to you in a moment. I'll see. Good talking with you. Talk to you soon. All right. Okay, bye.